Well, I guess it's time for a tour of my mobile home, my vacation home, my rig, whatever you want to call it. It's a 1995 Isuzu Trooper, 3.2 liter single cam, 5-speed manual. It's just a base model, manual windows, manual locks, real basic setup. Nothing fancy, nothing to break. Yeah, let's check it out. Up front, ARB bull bar, cheap Amazon LED lights. Don't use them that much, but they work pretty good so far. This is a CB antenna. Inside here, we've got just a Smitty built 9500 synthetic line winch, which is obviously coiled up on the bumper right now, and the Snorkel, just a knockoff eBay Snorkel. Fits pretty good, at least. I haven't really gone underwater with it yet, but there's still a chance. Snorkel is connected. The only difference is the Snorkel attaches to the outside of the air filter box, and the factory inlet attaches to the inside. So basically, I just had to remove the factory inlet, which sits directly behind the headlight and just like asks for water to come into it. And I have a rubber plug that fills that hole. And I actually take out the plug usually when I'm driving on the highway, because I'm a little worried that this Snorkel restricts airflow a little bit. So just to make sure that I'm getting plenty of air in, I take that plug out and then pop it in as soon as I get back on the dirt. And under the hood is standard 3.2 liter single cam. Only differences are Optima yellow top, which has been working pretty good for the crank battery. I have a Battery Doctor 150 amp battery isolator, which basically sends power to the auxiliary batteries. The auxiliary batteries will charge from the alternator once the main battery is fully charged, and it won't drain the main battery when the auxiliary batteries are being used. So it works really well. It's really cheap and easy. Works perfect first, second battery system. And then at the back, I've got a air compressor. It's just a, I believe it's the MV50. It's like $50 from Pep Boys, and it works really well. It's loud because I have it mounted on a piece of metal in the engine bay. I need to put some rubber isolators under it, but it has no problem inflating my tires and anybody else's. It has 243,000 miles on it now, and it makes a ton of noise, but it hasn't let me down yet. Knock on metal. For the suspension, wheels and tires and that stuff, basically the underside of the car. The front, we're running Dobinson's torsion bars and Ultra Nitro shocks. Just standard length shocks. They work really good. They're actually a little longer, maybe like ½ inch longer than the original OEM shocks, but they have plenty of travel. Other than that, I just have low profile bump stops, and basically they call the ball joint flip mod. You just mount the upper ball joint on the bottom of the control arm instead of the top, and it gives you a little better alignment settings or options for when you've lifted it up, and also gives you a little bit more down travel, because the point where your bump stop contacts is moved up. Yeah, I've got really good front travel on this thing. I don't think I've even maxed it out yet, and I've definitely gone over some stuff my FJ Cruiser would have been lifting wheels on. So I'm quite impressed. Tires are Cooper ST Max, size 235/85 16. So just a little skinny 32 by like 9.5. They've been really awesome so far. They're wearing really well, and I they haven't had any issues with any grip or anything. Also, I have super cheap eBay manual locking wheel hubs. This one happens to be breaking currently, so those are getting switched out. I guess that's the lesson. Don't buy cheap crap, even though I have lots of it. I've also got the rock sliders. I forget the brand on these, but I purchased them from Classic City Overland down in Georgia. Makes a lot of great products for Isuzus. So if you've got an Isuzu you need parts for, check him out and he'll hook you up. I've also got, not installed yet, a front air locker that will be going in as soon as I get back from this trip. It's already installed in a separate third member, so it should just be a matter of swapping it out. I'll probably do that along with the front hubs. Should be pretty cool. Can't wait to get that thing in. Not that I've even needed it yet, but it'll definitely be comforting to know it's available. In the back, again, the Ultra Nitro shocks. I'm running ones from I believe, Xterra Pathfinder Frontier. Something like that. They're about 2 inches longer than the standard Isuzu ones. They still actually compress enough to use the stock bump stops for compression, and they give a lot more down travel. This thing flexes like crazy in the back. It's really impressive. They will let your springs fall out though, so you need to have really long springs. And I also have some angle brackets to bolt the springs to the rear axle. As far as springs, I'm running, there's a bee on my hand. I'm running OME 919 springs. They're like the medium grade. I probably should be running the heavier duty springs, but I'm not. Maybe I'll upgrade to those later. They're working pretty good for now. So those, along with some 1.5 coil spacers, and with all the weight I have in this, I'm guessing I've got about a 2-inch lift overall. The rear axle is a factory LSD axle, basically just from like the high-end Trooper models or the Acura SLX. It works okay. As long as you keep lots of power on and the tire spinning, but if you lift a tire or come close to it, you will definitely be spinning a tire. So I'll probably be upgrading that to a locker fairly soon as well. The trailing arms, I just welded some angle iron to them to try and give them a little extra support for now. I bent the first set that was on this truck, so I had a spare set and reinforced them a little bit. It seems like they'll be okay for now. Eventually I'll be getting some upgraded ones as well, probably, if I bend these guys. Classic City Overland makes a set of rear arms for these guys, so that's definitely on the list later down the line. And yeah, the wheels are just standard steel Trooper wheels, 16x7, 6.5, something like that. They fit on this not wide body truck real well, I think. They tuck under the fenders real nice, and I wouldn't run anything else. They're pretty much perfect for it. They're really heavy, but they're probably really strong too. Standard tire carrier, crasheroo, essential item to have when you pick up everyone else's garbage and you actually want to take out your own as well, which you should. On the right side, just have 2 jerry can holders. One of them is currently being used for my traction ramps. They're also cheap Amazon purchase, like $69 shipped. seem to work okay so far. I've only used them once and they didn't break, so I guess that's good. And on this side, I basically welded brackets to the rear door to mount my high lift. Angle brackets off, so that this just threads on with these knobs, just like any other high lift jack would mount. And then rear quarter window here, I switched up the glass for, it's basically a sheet of polycarbonate, and I have a water fill tank, and then a air compressor hose and fitting, and the top one is an actual shower hose, so I can take a shower after I've been on the road for a few days. Last piece on the outside. Denver Outfitters roof tent. It's basically the same as the Roof Nest Sparrow X. It's sealed, bolted straight to the roof of the Trooper. We'll get to that in a minute. It works okay. I can put stuff on the roof as well, and it doesn't leak water, so that's good. I've upgraded it, modified it a little bit to make it kind of easier to deal with. There's a few things I don't like about it, but that's not really that important right now. So I've also got 2 solar panels on the roof, 200-watt panels, and they power basically, well, they charge 2 auxiliary batteries which are mounted inside, and that runs everything that I might be using around camp when the engine's not on. And then the engine alternator will charge those auxiliary batteries as well. And with that said, let's move inside. Go. This is inside the Trooper. Start on this side. We've got Lifesaver jerry can mounted to the door. It's pressurized, filters water. I can fill this thing up in a muddy river and get clean drinking water out of it. There's a pump on the back side, a spout on the front. Best investment I ever bought for this. Well, actually I got it as a gift, but it's one of the best things I have in this truck. On this side we've got storage cabinet. There is 2 separate latches and a drawer that slides out. This is an aluminum toolbox basically, mounted on some heavy duty sliders. Latches down. There's a workstation here. Can use for prepping food, things like that. Inside, got food, pots and pans, jet boil, mini stove, all that good stuff. And a slide out tabletop here. Great for setting stuff on, eating off of. It works real well. This is actually my first trip with this board in here, and it is so useful having this extra storage. I also don't like having a table with legs with me, because if the dog needs to be on leash, they will run around all the time and knock it over. I can't tell you how much food and drink I've spilled in the past from tables getting knocked over by dogs. So having all this up in the air, it is really, really beneficial and awesome. So that locks out, slides in, and that slides in. On this side, I've got in the corner, I've got my switches. One turns on lights. You can see here, there's a couple inside. One turns on the water pump, which you'll see over here. One of them turns on the radio in the factory location. but it runs off the auxiliary batteries, although it still comes on with the key. So I can run that radio all night when I'm camping and not worry about killing the engine starter battery. Switch on and off there, or like I said, just it comes on with the key as well, like a factory radio would. And the fourth switch here, it's mystery switch. I still don't know what that does. Maybe one day we'll know. And then I have the battery meter that doesn't work. It always says the battery's full. So it's the Optimist's battery meter. Other side. Alright, so in here, got one compartment at the back which holds big propane tank, well, a 5-pound propane tank. Holds hoses, dirty car parts, and oil. I have brake fluid and oil and power steering fluid and stuff like that. Sits in here. Over here is a water tank. I've got a 10-gallon water tank, and there's a pump inside here as well. And then this little wedge of space on the back side is a tool chest. So that opens up, and that's where I keep extra tools. I keep a tool roll in this compartment as well, and then all the little extra stuff I keep. What the hell was that? And all the extra little stuff I keep on the side over here. On the door, water heater, runs off propane, which hooks up to the tank in here. Just has a quick connect hose that attaches in here. Sink, because I do not like this setup at all. I'm trying to figure out something to change it to, but I don't know what yet, so I'll figure that out soon enough. This is a fold-out table here, and then on the inside I have a bunch of elastic bands that hold my silverware, cutting utensils, things like that. All the stuff I use for cooking, besides pots and pans, basically sit inside this drawer here, and then it just folds up and latches shut. And then the handle conveniently holds a thing of soap. And let's move on inside. So inside, this is the roof, and this lifts up, and we walk up here, and now this is my tent. So you can see floor, bed area. So how it works is basically I'm standing here, full height. I'm just under 6 feet tall, so lots of room left. It's pretty great. This is the floor. You can climb up here, sit down, and then when we're up here, this folds down, and that's the rest of my bed. Then I just pull all the blankets and stuff over and have a good night. So this also works really good for Seamus getting up. He just jumps up onto the two countertops and then comes right up here. Also, this works out really well because now I have a desk, so I can sit right here, and this is my desktop. So, you know, I can get my laptop out and do video editing or whatever else I want. What the back, fire extinguisher, easy to get to, always know where it is. And then over here I've got a power inverter, and this is also where my solar inverter is mounted, and fuse panel for the auxiliary stuff, and just a couple little DC cigarette lighter output things over here. And then this is the fridge, which attaches to the cigarette lighter output right there. And I think that's it inside here. Let's go around and we'll check out the rest. It's really bright now. Alright, so inside, passenger side door, fridge access. This is a winter 62 quart dual zone fridge freezer. It's in this extra little insulated blanket. On the right side, fridge, and on the left side is freezer. It is absolutely fantastic. I can't tell you how nice it is to have both fridge and freezer. I have ice cream with me for dessert and frozen meat, and it's so great. It works really well. It works so well. I can't say how happy with it I am. It is a little noisy, and I think it might not be the most efficient, but it's super affordable. And yeah, I have no regrets. Underneath, I have a little bit of storage here. Keep bulky stuff in here, like Seamus's dog food. I can keep like loaves of bread and bags of chips and stuff like that in here, and they won't get smashed because there's a nice gap, and nothing's gonna fall on them or anything like that. Footwell storage down here. Right now I just have an extra tarp and like a bag for dirty clothes and stuff. Most of my clothes I keep folded up in the workbench desktop. Under the passenger seat, I have two auxiliary batteries mounted. They're just a gel AGM battery. Well, two of them. They are both 35 amp hours, so I have 70 amp hours total and 200 watts of solar, and they've been working good so far. I've been on the road for about a week now, and my fridge has been staying cooled every single night so far. I'm sure if I had some really bad cloud cover for multiple days and didn't want to drive anywhere, I'd probably need more, but for just the night, they seem to be enough. I've been running, the radio and lights and the fridge all night, and no issues so far. So, driver's side. This is Seamus's area. He's got a big waterproof dog bed, and then underneath that platform is where I keep like recovery gear. I have a bag of recovery gear, and then after I have to use it, it all just gets thrown inside. Winch controller, tree saver. I've also got some oars for an inflatable boat that I've been keeping with me, though I haven't had a chance to use it yet. But that's there because they're out of the way and they slide all the way across to the other side. And then only other thing here is underneath the dog bed is I have a storage compartment here. This is a factory under back seat storage compartment that Isuzu made in here, which is awesome. And I keep just like ropes and tie downs and stuff like that in there. Should be the last bit now. Driver's side door. Awesome armrest. I think I bought this off eBay for like 20 bucks. It's designed to clip the slide inside the window track, but that kind of restricts the window a little bit. Makes it harder to go up and down with the crank window. So I cut the tab off and it just velcros to the top. It has a little bit of a hook to clip on the window sill, but it doesn't actually slide down inside. This has been so good. Before I was just resting my arm on the door and it would fall asleep after like 20 minutes. So now this really makes a big difference. Down below Down below here I've got quick access stuff, dog poop bags, super high power flashlight. This is really great for having at night if I'm trying to find a campsite. I can shine this out the side and point it exactly where I want it to go. Little mini hatchet in case I need to hack up any limbs or anything that are hanging down in the way of the trail. Tire deflator. Quick tire deflator, really good to have. And then I have just a little rag and a pliers to help unlock and lock my cheap, crappy manual hubs that don't work. They also get kind of hot sometimes, so having a wrench to use on those is nice. Inside, all right, gets a little crazy in here. So overhead, bunch of storage nets, keep a raincoat, sunglasses, a warm hat, a couple extra radios, lights, flashlights, all kinds of useful stuff up here. These things are so nice to have. In the back, I have some more straps to tie things to the roof. I actually have a little mini travel guitar that I keep up here, windshield sunshade, and then I have a warmer winter coat back here because you never know when it's going to get cold in Colorado. It actually snowed at 11,000 feet where I was camping at the end of August. So if you thought August was a summer month, think again. On the center here, I've got it's just like a cheap storage compartment thing I bought from like Sears or something like that. I use this to store anything I want to get to quickly, like camera gear, snacks. I have a bunch of extra little USB cables, stuff like that in here. My drone lives in the passenger seat for now. I've just been using a 3DR Solo, which honestly is fantastic. I love it, but it's really bulky, so I'm probably gonna have to get something a little more compact. So, magnetic holder for my phone, audio output for my phone, which attaches to the radio. I have a CB mounted down here where the ashtray usually fits. It was nearly the perfect size for the CB, so I opened it up a little bit and massaged it in place, and that's really convenient now. Still have a little cubby down here for mints and little things. Okay, down by the shifter area, got all kinds of stuff going on down here. Basically, I have switch for the air compressor, which is mounted under the hood. Next to that is the switch for the air locker that is not quite installed yet. And then I have a USB plug here with two 3.1 volt USB outputs. The shifter boot in here is really deep and works awesome for storing another flashlight and little things that fall out of the cubby up here. They sit nicely in here. Keys sit in here very nicely when I'm camping. I have a bunch of Velcro down here I have a battery charger for my camera connected, another battery charger over here for my GoPro batteries, and then I have the extra batteries for my main camera, which I'm using right now. After they're charged, they sit in their little plastic cases and Velcro on the side here. And there's also a cup holder Velcro down here. So, cup holders, really good to have. And then I also have, in the front, I have two more DC cigarette lighter outputs that I've installed. Another piece of Velcro where I have a couple USB battery stick things and a window breaker seatbelt cutter in case of emergency. It's super easy to get to, and then another USB outlet down here. I also have a USB outlet here, which charges my dash cam, and I have a GoPro mounted to the ceiling over my head, and then I have my awesome levo gauge, which is, I believe, for a boat, but it works perfectly. And now I know if I'm going to either flip my truck, or I also use this to help level the tent out for when I park at my campsite every night. Very nice to have. I have a little trash can velcroed to the glove box over here. Very convenient, so I don't throw wrappers and stuff on the floor like I'm really good at. And then I have 2 water bottles, which are held securely in place by a bungee cord, which goes between a hook and the seat rail. So I always know I've got water ready to go, and it's not going to be flopping around and annoying. It's held in place. And believe it or not, without the drone here, there's actually still enough space for someone to sit comfortably at that. And lastly, I've got my GPS unit / satellite communicator. InReach Explorer. This is the older Delorme model, but that guy mounts the dash and it charges through one of my many DC outputs, and it's great. It attaches to my phone via Bluetooth and gives me map, and I can text message from it. Anyone that's in my phone book, I can send them a message when I'm anywhere really in the world. The map is not the most accurate thing, which you might see if you're watching any of my other videos, but at least I know where I am for the most part, and I can usually find, I've always been able to find a way back to a main road, so it could use improvements, but it works good enough. In the messenger part of it, the satellite text messaging is really handy, so yeah, it's definitely nice to have. The only other thing I've added is I got a factory fog light switch. This model did not have fog lights from the factory, so I took a factory fog light switch and mounted it here, and that controls my LED, my 7-inch round LED lights that are mounted to the bull bar. That's it. Everything else is completely standard. So anyway, that's it. Hope you guys enjoy this, and let me know if you've got any questions about this truck or any suggestions. I'm always looking for ways to improve. Yeah, I'm never happy with the way it is, so always trying to improve something. So let me know what you think.